Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 700 Club. I'm Andrew Knox in for Gordon Robertson today. Members of a small Baptist church in Lexington, Kentucky are grieving the loss of a mother and daughter. A gunman shot and killed them Sunday afternoon.
The shooter wounded a state trooper before leading police on a 15-mile chase that ended at the church. Church members say he came there for a reason. Dale Hurd explains.
Police say the tragedy began Sunday near Bluegrass Airport in Lexington when a state trooper stopped a car after receiving an alert from his automated license plate reader. The suspect ambushed the trooper, shooting and wounding him as he walked up to the car.
There were some people en route to the airport, and they got out and assisted the trooper.
The shooter drove 9 miles before stealing a different car and then drove to Richmond Road Baptist Church.
Preliminary information indicates that the suspect may have had a connection to the individuals at the church.
2 women told the Lexington Herald-Leader newspaper they were cooking in the basement at Richmond Road Baptist when the gunman burst in and asked to see a woman who attended the church, the mother of his children. When they told the gunman she wasn't there, he reportedly responded, "Well, someone is going to have to die then," and he opened fire. Dead are mother and daughter Beverly Gum and Christina Combs. Their husbands, Randy Combs and church pastor Jerry Gum, were injured. Police shot and killed the suspect on site. The Herald-Leader reports Combs was a mother of 5, including a 6-month-old baby, and was planning to graduate from nursing school in the coming months.
The majority of the individuals that attend the church there are related biologically some way or another. If not, they've been friends for many, many years, so it's a very tight-knit group.
Police say the suspect had a history of mental health, drug, and anger issues, and that his ex had filed a protection order against him in the past. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear posted on X, "Please pray for everyone affected by these senseless acts of violence." The state attorney general said, "Today, violence invaded the Lord's house." This is the second church shooting in the U.S. in less than a month. In the other, near Detroit, church security shot and killed the gunman. 1 person was injured. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Thank you, Dale. Well, as the people in the beautiful city of Lexington grieve, we mourn and pray along with you. This state trooper shot and wounded on a routine type style pullover, and then of course mother and daughter now dead, preparing food for the church congregation. Others still critically wounded, so please be praying for the entire community and first responders. Elsewhere, the fighting in Gaza has reached new intensity. Israeli forces are ramping up pressure on the battlefield in a bid to force Hamas back to the negotiating table. John Jessup has more on that story from our CBN News Bureau in Washington. John.
That is right, Andrew. Despite growing international pressure for ceasefire, Hamas rejected the latest deal, demanding a full Israeli withdrawal from Gaza. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says that would only embolden future attacks.
We accepted the deal the mediators offered us. Hamas refused it. They want us to leave so they can rearm and attack us again and again. I will not accept this. I will do everything to bring our hostages back.
In Iran, officials now confirm their president was wounded in an Israeli strike last month. The regime has vowed that the injury will not go unanswered. Tehran has since closed its airspace, raising fears of a retaliatory strike on Israel. In a post, an advisor to the leader of Iran's parliament posted on Instagram an image of nuclear mushroom clouds over the state of Israel. Well, in the aftermath of the war with Iran, one Israeli Arab influencer says the threat from the nation will continue until the regime is dealt with, much like Allied forces dealt with Nazis after World War II. CBN Middle East correspondent Julie Stahl has the story from Jerusalem.
As both Israel and the U.S. hail the great victory over Iran and its nuclear program in the 12-day June war, many Israelis are uneasy and feel there's more to be done.
Make no mistake, the IDF won big time. Big time. What we did is unprecedented. It's unbelievable. It is one of the greatest victories of our country and our IDF. But the fact is that we have not completed the job.
Israeli journalist and advocate for Israel, Yosef Haddad, says the Iranian regime is proud of targeting Israeli civilians, which shows why they must be destroyed and not just weakened. Haddad spoke to CBN News at the site of the Iranian missile attack in Beersheba, in which 4 Israelis were killed around the time the ceasefire was declared. He likened the current situation to Europe at the end of World War II.
Imagine if in World War II, America and Britain and its allies said, you know what, we won, but we're not going to eliminate completely the Nazis and destroy Hitler. We're just going to keep him as weak as he is. Do you think Hitler would neglect his final solution? It's exactly what the IRGC and the Ayatollah is the same thinking, which means they're not neglecting the last solution. And the last solution is to arrive at a nuclear bomb in order for them to destroy the little devil and to reach the big devil, which is the United States.
At the end of World War II, Germany surrendered unconditionally, and the Allied forces divided the country into 4 zones. German leaders and military officials were tried for war crimes at Nuremberg. The Allies also worked to change the ideology.
What we're doing here right now is actually fighting for the whole free world, for the whole Western world. And we're putting the Israeli civilians in danger doing so. Continue fighting the IRGC, eliminating the IRGC, free the Iranian people, and bring security to Israeli civilians, both Arabs and Jews.
Meanwhile, Israel police spokesman Dean Elsden says the police are working proactively to thwart Iranian attempts at drafting spies and getting information inside Israel.
We have over 23 cases of indictments for espionage, where Iranians are trying to use civilians here in Israel through financial ways, offering them money to complete seamlessly simple tasks by sending pictures, sending locations, and then it works its way up to even assassination attempts in providing information of sensitive areas.
Elsden told CBN News that Israel police are on top of it and are working to secure Israel's borders. Julie Stahl, CBN News, Beersheba.
Thank you, Julie. Here at home, President Trump hinted at a, quote, major statement on Russia today. The president continued his criticism of Russia's Vladimir Putin on Sunday, saying he talks nice and then he bombs everybody. Over the weekend, Russia launched hundreds of drones and dozens of missiles against Ukraine. The president also revealed a new deal involving the United States and NATO to send more weapons, including Patriot missiles, to Ukraine. South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham, speaking on CBS's Faith the Nation, said there's a coming shift in U.S. policy.
The game is about to change. I expect in the coming days you will see weapons flowing at a record level to help Ukraine defend themselves.
NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte will meet with President Trump and his national security team, as well as members of Congress in Washington this week. Well, the Trump administration is defending its campaign deporting millions of immigrants living in the United States illegally, now pledging to appeal a federal judge's order restricting ICE operations. The orders block the targeting of individuals based on their race, language, or employment, as well as ordering detainees be given legal counsel. Well, the administration has also seen some legal victories on its immigration policies. The Supreme Court recently granted its request to revoke the temporary legal status of some 500,000 immigrants. CBN's Charlene Aaron looks at the potential impact of the ruling, including within the church.
These specific policies served as a parole program allowing people from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela to stay in the U.S. by passing a security check and having a sponsor to provide housing. The Biden administration program has been the subject of ongoing legal challenges.
It was a really good opportunity for the U.S. to offer protection to people fleeing countries experiencing really severe humanitarian crises, economic devastation, persecution for political reasons, and in some cases religious reasons.
Given the court's decision, World Relief's Matt Sorens sees a potential devastating impact on nearly 500,000 people who entered the U.S. legally, including facing background checks.
For the administration to seek to send these people back potentially is really discouraging, especially given the state of what people will be going back to in countries like Haiti and Venezuela.
For example, armed gangs and escalating violence continues to plague Haiti. recently leading several airlines to suspend flights there after gunfire hit 3 planes. Brad Jacob, Associate Dean and Professor at Regent University, says while the ruling is straightforward from a legal perspective, it does raise ethical issues.
This is a policy that was put in place in the Biden administration without a statute of Congress, simply by executive action. So the idea that we just don't care about these people and we're willing to throw them back in a situation where they might be killed or will live a horrific life, I'm not very pleased with that on a moral basis, even though I acknowledge that it's the president's power to do it.
Sorens says the ruling could also affect churches, which have historically played a role in the program.
So we've worked with lots of churches to help people both sponsor acquaintances or loved ones who are in these countries, also help churches to receive them. That is to say, the administration could send these people back if they choose to. And I think, obviously, that's devastating to churches here in the United States and to our brothers and sisters who could face persecution.
Pastor Gabriel Salguero, founder of the National Latino Evangelical Coalition, agrees.
Yeah, I think without question, when you begin to revoke temporary protected status, which I want to remind everyone again is legal, you're going to impact church attendance, you're going to impact leaders and volunteers in the church.
Salguero says more needs to be done to fix the country's broken immigration system.
Executive orders, whether they're Democrats or Republicans, do not provide long-term solutions. We need Congress to act to provide long-term solutions. At the same time, as pastors, we don't ask people for their immigration status. We are called by Christ to serve men, women, and children, no matter where they were born.
Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
Thank you, Charlene. Turning now to Texas in the aftermath of the deadly flooding. Another round of weekend storms in the Texas Hill Country temporarily halted teams from continuing the search efforts. Some residents were forced to evacuate their homes. More than 130 people perished in the July 4th floods. Matthew and Elizabeth Hammond are mourning the loss of their 17-year-old daughter, Malayla. They found her body on the riverbank.
I could look beyond all the bruising and everything else. She was so beautiful, and I was able to hold her one last time the way I did when she was a baby.
The family plunged into the floodwaters when their minivan went off a bridge. The parents and Malayla's siblings survived, but she did not make it to the shore. Well, CBN's Operation Blessing is in the flood zone, helping victims begin the long process of cleaning up. More than 40 volunteers from Oak Hills Church partnered with Operation Blessing, helping residents with home cleanup, salvage, and debris removal. The ministry has also set up a base in the Home Depot parking lot where it's distributing cleaning supplies, hygiene items, and boxed meals. Working with a local church, OB is also preparing and distributing hot meals for victims and first responders. Diego Traverso, Senior Director of Global Disaster Response for Operation Blessing, described what the victims are experiencing.
For the ones that we have children, it hits personally to see these families grieving and going after trying to find their beloved ones. It's just such a tragedy. The whole community is so impacted. The whole country, the whole world is beyond borders, really, what's happening here. But we also see the power of community coming together, the church being the center, God being the center, but the church being the hand of Jesus, being there, out there, nonstop. Operation Blessing is just like holding their backs, basically, so they can go farther with their work and their mission.
Much needed work, and Andrew, as you well know, Operation Blessing is on the ground and on hand for the long haul.
Thank you, John, and to Diego for being such a tremendous ambassador for Jesus and for Operation Blessing. Hearing that father, Matthew, talk about holding his 17-year-old daughter's body, calling her beautiful. These are the personal stories we're hearing. We heard so much about these 7-, 8-year-old girls just wiped away in a flood, and the families trying to grieve and move forward with the help of the community. This is why it's so crucial Operation Blessing is on the ground. Operation Blessing moved into Texas so quickly because we understand the need. And the trauma in that community, obviously, you don't need me to tell you, is so deep and so wide. And families are grieving. And that's why Operation Blessing is there, feeding people, feeding first responders. We're now in a Home Depot parking lot as a place to distribute food for those who are able to get to the Home Depot area and receive food. Also, Operation Blessing, when possible, is distributing in the community to people who need it. And don't forget these first responders who need a hot meal and have undergone so much trauma searching for bodies. This is a community that will need help and hope for the long haul. You can help. You can get a hold of Operation Blessing by calling us at 1-800-700-7000. You can go to our website, cbn.com, text, this is a simple, the quickest way, OBDR to 71777, or you can write us here at CBN Center in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Excuse me. It is a privilege for Operation Blessing to be on the ground, but it is very difficult work. And we partner with churches. There are volunteers with churches helping Operation Blessing, but we need you. The people need you desperately as they search for hope in the name of Jesus. 1-800-700-7000. We'd love to hear from you. If you've already joined and helped, we say thank you.